Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. You're listening to Actors with Issues, a self-help podcast for actors by actors. Hello, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends. Welcome back to another episode of Actors with Issues, the self-help podcast for actors by actors. Featuring special guests from TV, film, and Broadway, we take a deep dive into the world of entertainment and discuss what it means to be an actor today. I'm your host, Juan Ayala, and today I am joined by a performer you've seen in the CW's Walker, Walker Independence, and Netflix's upcoming Western drama, Ransom Canyon. Johnson Cortez, welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Hey, thanks. Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me again.
So quick note for the fans. Justin and I completed an interview just about a year ago. It was right before I had this big move, as I'm sure many folks have, heard in episodes from last year. And I was going through some burnout and whatnot, just some true adulting. And as folks know, the show went dark from April to November. But with Justin's new show coming out, I reached out. He was gracious enough to come back on for a second take, as I called it before. Justin, really appreciate you being here, and I'm excited to chat and to talk about Ransom Canyon. I did get to watch the first episode
Nice.
in advance, and I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah, I haven't even seen the first episode,
Oh,
so
really?
that's amazing. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see it. 2 weeks from yesterday, so
Mhm.
we're
Yeah,
getting close
yeah.
for the world to be able to see it.
I'm curious, Justin, sort of going back to the origins of your career. If I recall correctly, you started in modeling and then sort of
Yeah.
fell into acting by chance. And I'm curious if during that transition, were there any growing pains during that? Was it like the art of auditioning that seemed really tough, or developing a technique, training, all of that? What do you remember from that time?
I think early on there actually weren't a lot of pains. I think I was so excited. I think I was
Hmm.
just like I found this thing that was really scary. I've mentioned that it's like really scary to do. I went to this audition for this commercial. I had to act, but it felt like I was playing sports again. I don't know. It just felt like I was doing something that that was going to be really challenging, and it was, and it continues to be. But at that time, I think I was just so excited for it. The growing pains definitely came later, and the challenges, as anyone who's pursuing acting or living it and doing it as an art, as a craft, as a way of life, like it's challenging. There's going to be challenges along the way. You never quite know what they're going to be or how they're going to pop up. But I would say early on, I think I was just so jazzed to be like taking in this new world that I had no concept of. I didn't grow up doing theater. It wasn't really in my brain space as something I could do, or even that people really did. As much as I watched television and movies and loved them, there was nothing in my head that was like, oh, that's a person like me that decided to do this thing for a living. It just never crossed my mind.
Yeah, it's funny. Over the years, we've been doing the show for, we're about to hit our 5 year anniversary. I don't even remember.
Nice.
But yeah, a month into COVID is when we did it, and it's crazy that it's been 5 years since that whole debacle.
I
Um,
know.
but yeah, folks have often said, like, despite watching movies, watching TV, even seeing theater, you still don't really grasp that, oh, this is a job people do and pursue that I could possibly do. Um, and growing up, were you one of those kids who was like super hyper and needed like a creative outlet, or were you like a bit more shy and reserved and needed to like break out of your shell a little bit?
In my house, I was wild. I was doing things, I was dancing, I was making up voices. I was a crazy kid. I would say out in public, I was a little bit quieter.
Hmm.
I I got a lot of energy out because I grew up on like a little ranch and I was always outside exploring and doing things like that. And I played a lot of sports growing up. I played like all the soccer, basketball, baseball, did all that, played football as I got older. And but I was that kid who, whenever there's something new, I kind of like to learn it on my own. I was really shy and nervous to do it in front of people. I'm kind of the same way now. I've gotten a lot better. Acting is that actually kind of like broken me out of my shell in terms of being in front of people, and being myself in front of people, which is a lot goofier than most people know. My wife's like, she's always saying how people, if they saw me in my house, they'd be like, I didn't realize there's this side of you because I'm just like I'm wild. And with my kids, I'm just like constantly playing and being silly. So I think in my safe space, I was always very silly. Um, but in public, I was very reserved.
Yeah.
I don't know if
What
that's
is that called?
common.
An introverted extrovert,
Maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
or is it the
I've
other way
heard all these
around? I
going
don't remember.
extroverted, introvert, one or the other. I don't know. I do feel like in my safe space, I'm pretty extroverted. Although I don't think we're all made up of one thing. I think we all
Yeah.
go through a lot of different phases,
Yeah.
even with the within the span of a day, you know.
Yeah. For sure. I feel like especially actors, there's a lot of code switching going on. You're acting a certain way depending who you're with, what your comfort level is, you know when to be the professional, you know when it's okay to goof off, and then there's like all that middle, all that middle
Yeah.
space.
It's funny. You said code switching and it clicked for me. And I think I've done that a lot in my life in general.
Mm,
I had this one friend once and I was an art major in college and he was an artist and I was helping him set up his studio and he's like, every time I see you, he's like, I'll see you in a different crowd or a different thing. And you're like, you kind of fit these different molds. And I
yeah.
don't know, I guess I was like code switching for all these different areas of my life. Um, so people get different parts of me. I don't know.
Mm.
It's not on purpose, but it is,
Yeah, it
I
just
guess it just
happens. It's
happens.
yeah, I feel like it's rarely intentional. You know, I guess from your comfortable self to like professional, that's one thing. But like you said, going from like group to group, like how I am with my cousins is different than how I am with some of my friends or my partner, or you know, it's still
Yes,
me, but it's just a little those like slight little variations. Um, yeah, the accents
100%.
for me come in and out constantly. It's insane.
Yeah, you get around family, you start talking like you did when you were younger, and you're like, oh, when
Absolutely.
did that happen? Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Yeah. And it's funny, some of my cousins listen to the podcast and they're probably like, who's this guy? Why is he talking all like
So put together. Yeah.
right. Lord knows none of us have it actually all put together
No,
on a day to
no.
day, you know?
I'd like to meet that person.
Right. But I'm curious also to get into a bit of filmmaking. I remember from the last time we spoke, you had directed a couple of shorts during that
Yeah.
time period, which a lot of folks thankfully sort of got into filmmaking during the pandemic and then during the strikes. They're like, well, nothing else to do, so let's write something, let's shoot
Yeah.
something, let's finally edit that thing that I haven't touched in a year or whatever. But since you've made into that expansion, have you noticed a difference in how you approach acting because you've now been on the other side of the camera?
You know, I think I always still really approach it through the character. I don't know so much. I guess I am aware of like the production side of things. I'm aware of the camera. I'm aware of, the time of the day, like how much time we have for this amount of pages. But I try to let that go because I think being aware of it's fine and not wasting time is a great thing. But sometimes if you're hyper aware, then you're not just allowing yourself to be in that moment when you're acting and you gotta be free in that moment to kind of uh explore and see what's there and discover new things, right? So I think there's a fine line between kind of knowing like, oh, well, I'm gonna hit my mark and I know what that is. And I kind of know the beats of the scene and all these things, but leaving enough to be explored, to be discovered is really important. Um, and when I'm in my like filmmaking brain, it's so different from my acting brain
Mhm.
because I am thinking about the shot and how it'll edit to the next thing that I've written, and I'm watching the performance of whoever's acting. Acting while directing is really challenging, and I've done it a couple of times, and it's kind of just more of like a experiment for me,
Mhm.
a process that I'm like just trying to figure out because I do want to do more of it. I love making films and but I love acting so much. I tend to write myself into the things that I want to make. Um, and no shame there, I guess. I don't know if that's a wise choice, but people do it and some people do it well, and I think other people don't do it as well.
Mhm.
But I think it's just another challenge to kind of figure out. And at the end of the day, it's all process for me. It's all about having, learning and trying to enjoy the process and have a good time and work with people I love. So, um, Yeah, I think when I'm free to just act, it's really nice because there's other people taking care of all the other parts of it. And I trust them. I trust that they're gonna say something if there's something missing or if something needs to be molded in a different way, you know.
And is there a particular type of story or genre that you haven't been able to do in your acting career that you're like, ooh, maybe I should write this instead and direct it and be in it maybe?
That's how I started writing.
Mm,
Not even for genre, just for story in general. It's like I'm not seeing these stories. I'm not seeing these characters.
mm,
So yeah, that's a lot of why I still continue to write. Um, I tend to write a lot about family, um, parenthood, fatherhood. I feel like those themes are always really prevalent in the things I write, because that's such a huge part of who I am and kind of the challenge that I face every day is to be a good father and husband. And um, I guess when I write, I'm kind of exploring those difficulties and those fears that probably sit inside of me, um, and kind of these alternate versions of myself of like, well, I could just as easily be in this situation if this didn't happen, you know,
mm,
and I could very easily be in this position if I don't do certain things, you know. So I think
mm.
that's it's almost like preparing yourself for different ideas out there. I don't know. I guess that's kind of my process when I write.
And that's sort of a perfect segue into something we wanted to touch on. I feel like there's not a lot of actors who talk about balancing the pursuit of an acting career and being a parent. I feel like the folks maybe talk about it once they're like at the A list. They're like, well, because at that point they're at the top already, so they sort of have the
Yeah.
resources to navigate that. They can fly out their kids whenever and travel them back, but
Yeah.
not everyone has that luxury, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, for you, what's it been like balancing those two things?
Yeah, and I will say I'm sure it's challenging no matter where you are financially or
Mm,
career-wise. I'm sure there's always I mean time away from your family is tough in general. Um, so even if you have the means, it's still like, okay, I could get them here, but I know I'm going to be working 5 days out of the week, and they'll be here. And there's times that maybe someone is going to feel more guilty if they're where you're shooting and you're like, they're here, but and they're away from their home because I want to be near them, but I'm not actually spending time with them. And these are all these things you feel, like you could very easily um, solve one problem that creates a new problem, right?
mm,
For me, I remember thinking like how badly I wanted things to start happening for me, how badly I wanted to start booking projects and working. And my kids were very young; they were babies, and I kept thinking like, man, when is this going to happen? When's this going to happen? And by the time I started actually working, they were a bit older. And what was great about that is they could understand why I was leaving. They could understand that I was going to work for, if it was out of town for a few weeks, why I was doing it, and that I would be back. If they were very young, that would have been really hard. So I think like sometimes the timing of what we want doesn't match up with the timing of what it probably should be. And in hindsight, I was able to kind of see that. But yeah, it's tough because you have this creative pursuit and this like thing in you that you feel like you need to do. Um, and it's hard to justify that sometimes because it does mean time away from my family. If I'm working as much as I want to and I have the success that I hope to achieve, I am going to be on set a lot. I'm going to be
mm,
busy. I'm going to be producing things. I'm going to be doing all these things that ultimately mean time away from the family. And it's hard to kind of balance that in my soul a little bit. I'm like, oh, am I being too selfish? And then on the flip side, you're like, but I could, I'm caring for them. I could provide for my family. It gives my wife the security to homeschool them. And that's what she does. She homeschools them so that we can have the freedom. They could come visit set if I'm on location somewhere. And it's just all these things kind of go into each other, and
mm.
it's very easy to like make sense of it in one moment and then feel guilty in a different moment. So I think that balance
Yeah.
is really challenging. It's helpful that my children really do grasp. I have two girls and they're both brilliant, and they really do understand that this is a job, but it's also like a passion. Um, and the one thing that they know And I've told them time and time again, I've told my wife, I told my kids, if at any point they're like, this isn't good for us, you, I don't want you to be gone. I want you here. I'll leave it
Mm,
because at the end of the day, they're my world, you know? And I
mm,
think there's something really nice about that. There's something that feels really good to know that and to trust that and just be like, if they say it, I know I could go do XYZ and provide for them in this way. And it would be challenging, but that's what we do as parents. We sacrifice, right? But it's really nice that my children know that. And they realize they sacrifice a little bit for this career. They sacrifice for a time we lived in New Mexico and they didn't get to see the rest of their family for a couple of months and that's a sacrifice that they're willing to take and there's times that makes me really sad to think about and then there's times that I know like at the end of the day that's what love is. You know, that's what a relationship is, whether it's a friendship, a partnership, or father daughter, or, you know, any of that. It requires those things. So yeah, it's challenging, man. It's scary. It's scary to think like, oh, what if I'm pursuing this thing and it's not going the way I want it to go, and I've wasted X amount of years, and now I got to restart in a different career path. There's all these things that go through your head as an actor in general and then to be a parent on top of that, for me, the stakes feel different as well. But they're super supportive, and I am so thankful for that, and I think that makes it a lot easier to navigate.
Well, that's beautiful, really. That's like you said, parents sacrifice, and I feel like it's such a beautiful thing. I feel for kids to see their parents pursue their passion and like not give up on it, because it just shows them like you just gotta keep going, you gotta keep on, keep going, or keep going. What is it? Keep up going on. I don't know. Uh, keep on keeping on. That's what it is.
Keep on
Um,
keeping on.
Lately on the show, we've been talking a bit about mentorship because in this other series that I host for the company I work for Media Village, it's more sort of business oriented in the entertainment industry, in advertising and whatnot. And mentorship comes up a lot. Folks saying that like I had this mentor, or when I was an intern, I shadowed this person and whatnot. But I feel like in acting, it's not as common, but there's still sometimes a director who left a profound impact, or a
Yep.
co-star, or just seeing someone how they carry themselves on set, how they lead. Does anyone come to mind for you that you sort of want to shout out
Oh,
and appreciate?
so many people, man. I mean, I think about this a lot because people come into your life at different parts of this journey, right? At different parts of this like crazy adventure that we're on in life in general, and then you put it into the scope of the industry and acting. Um, and there's been so many people along the way, whether it be people you meet at acting class or an acting coach. And I have a good friend, his name's John Lacey. Um, and he was running this acting class that I would go to for years. And he's a great friend of mine now. And he's just still like, if you call him up, he's just such a great person to have in your corner. Kind of just like speak truth to the moments of you're like, hey, this is feeling weird. It's like, well, remember where you were here, or and just kind of keep these people that are championing you along, right? Like, it's important. I think you need that. I think you need that support system as an actor, and they're going to come from all over the place. Uh, I worked on Walker Independence with Matt Barr, and I remember seeing him kind of just like navigate the business side of things a little bit, and how he was able to show up to work and be so like in it at work, and then when you go to events, like how easy it came to him to like speak with people, and he was so genuine and 100% himself. And I think that was such a good reminder to me that like you can't try to be a different person. You can't try to be some idea of something, especially if you're like talking to executives or talking to press people. Like you just got to be you, because that's all it is. And this effort you put in, like it's all wasted energy if you're like trying to present in a certain way. And so like there's people like Matt who like I've seen along the way just be so themselves. And I'm just like, I admire that. I really admire that. And it teaches you. And it definitely taught me like just this is who I am, and we're complex and we have all these different parts of ourselves. But like at the end of the day, us changing who we are to fit an idea we think some executive might want to see, or a producer or a casting director might want us to be. It's just that's not it's not really going to get you to the place you want to be. You just
Yeah.
got to be yourself and do, commit to your work and do what you do best. Um, and the world's either going to see that or they're not, I guess. And that's the scary part. But I don't know. You just got to be able to wake up every day and go to bed every night and just be able to look at yourself and be happy with how you've done things, how you have try to at least go past these difficult moments and navigate this crazy industry.
Yeah. I feel like especially now, the industry has really, really shifted in the last couple of years. I mean, it did at first, with COVID and in-person auditions changing to tapes and production slowing down and all of that. And then, I feel like after the strikes, everybody, including like studios and whatnot, we're expecting like a wave of productivity because we all came back, but it never really happened because I feel like everybody was a bit more cautious jumping in and being overly eager when it came to, pitching ideas and signing deals and all of that. And it feels a lot like, folks are a bit discouraged because things are leaving Los Angeles, things are leaving New York, things are filming overseas in Europe where it's much cheaper because they can get around, you know, costs, labor unions and whatnot. We have such strong unions here that it's unfortunate that some companies can kind of just like go to another
Yeah.
place and do it on the cheap there. Um, and yeah, so how have you been able to navigate, and also like what advice do you give for a young actor who maybe is feeling discouraged? They're not getting the auditions that they used to, or
Yeah.
they're not getting those opportunities that used to be much more frequent here.
Yeah, I wish I could say that I wasn't discouraged at times and didn't struggle. It's hard, man. It's like I don't know if this is true. I don't I feel like the bar is always going to be pushing forward.
Mm,
Like I remember getting pinned for my first like co-star. Like it's like, hey, you're pinned for this. I didn't even end up getting the part. I just remember getting pinned for it, and I was ecstatic. You would like if you were in my house, you would have thought like we won the lotto. Like it was like I was so happy. We are cheering. It was huge. And then that bar gets pushed, right? You're like, well, that getting pinned isn't the thing anymore. You want to book it. And it's like, well, the co-star's not the thing. You want the guest star. And the guest star's not, you want the series regular. And it's like the more you learn and the more you work and the better you get and just like you I think that's natural, right? For that bar to push. So all this to say is like I think our goals just continue getting higher, and I think that's important. I think that's what makes us human. That's why we've done accomplished so much in one sense as humans, and also got ahead of ourselves in many ways as humans as well. But um, we have that in us. And then when you're not quite getting the auditions you want, and there's just not a lot out there, and it just doesn't feel like anything's moving, it sucks. And I definitely have had moments in the last year where I just feel absolutely like I've had moments where I'm like, am I even an actor if I'm not auditioning? Am I even an actor if I'm not working? And I think those little voices are dangerous because they come in so easily and they just start to like get louder and louder and louder. Um, what I found was that I needed to find another way for my creativity to be explored and to be fulfilled. And it's not always easy to know what that is. And sometimes it's not the thing that you think it is. And sometimes it's not doing a play. It might be painting. It might be just
Mm,
reading more. It might just be exploring different parts of life. And I think that's always important as well, as like having a life outside of acting is really vital. um, Going and getting lost in the mountains overnight, backpacking, like just doing something that kind of shakes you out of this like waiting period, because the waiting period it's awful. It's like the worst
yeah,
part of anything. It's just like you start to just sit there and feel like nothing's gonna happen. And so you just got to shake it up. And I think like with me, I put myself into my kids, and I try to be inspired by them, because I'll wake up some mornings and they'll be reading a book. The next morning they'll be like drawing. The next morning they'll like have a bunch of toys out and be playing. Like I don't know, they just are constantly like just finding their own way to create the joy. And they're not waiting around for anyone to tell them to have fun, or anyone to tell them how to have fun. And it's really magical. It's really incredible that they are able to kind of go out there and just create that for themselves. And I think we all have that ability to just go out there and create our own joy and create our own, you know, our own experience of life. And it's a challenge because we all want to be working and we all want to be doing this thing that we love to do so much. And sometimes as an actor, it's hard because it's not like playing the guitar or writing a poem. Like it does require more moving parts.
yeah,
A scene partner, unless you're doing a monologue, but like a lot of us want to be engaged. We want to feel that energy. So it's challenging. I guess I would just tell if anyone cared to listen, I'd say kind of like what I said, just find another way to get that same kind of energy out, and it's not going to look the same for any one person. It's a challenge.
yeah.
Um, it does take some soul searching, I think.
And before we go, we always end with the game, but we sort of leave it up to chance. So just choose a number, one, two, or three, and that'll be
Okay.
the game that we play.
All right, three.
All right, three is it's time for life's big questions. It's one of our classic games.
Okay.
But yeah, if you could have any superpower, which would you choose?
Oh no, I think we did this one. All right, we talk about this a lot. I think I would choose the ability to teleport.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's
I
the
think
best
that
answer.
I think it's what I got to do. And particularly if I could bring people, that
Right.
would be I mean, it's like just go vacation on the beach for the afternoon, and then you'd be back in your warm bed at night, like it would be awesome. I think that's got to be my answer. My kids would probably have some really cool ones, though. Um, yeah, final answer, lock it in,
Yeah.
teleport.
It's funny with the whole concept of teleporting and whatnot. I always think of it for whatever reason. It's just the actor in me. I just think of it on a business standpoint. I'm like, oh, I gotta be like a local hire anywhere, so they don't, like they don't have to find me out. So that improves my chances. You know, it's
Well,
ridiculous.
no, it's not. It's like we put things through the lens of what our life and what we experience, right? So it makes sense, and much like that, I think about it like if I'm working in New Mexico, if I'm working in Canada, I just get to go to work and I could come back home that night. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like everything I do ha somehow goes through the lens of me and my family and my kids, and I can't escape it. So I
Yeah.
think it's very normal that that's how your brain works. Like, somebody else would have that idea for a different reason. But that's why it's fun to explore those. It's cool.
Yeah.
Good game.
What is your favorite way to consume art? Movie going, TV watching, concerts, museums, theater?
Oh my gosh. So a personal thing about me, I'm really bad at favorites. I've always been terrible. Like when people are like, "What's your favorite thing?" And I'm always like, "I don't know. There's too many." You know what? Like I really love watching people do their art. So
Mm,
something about like in person live is it just gets me. Like they don't even have to be good. Like it's just so amazing to me that anybody gets up and performs, whether it be a poem or their music or they're on stage doing a play. Um, that it's just like it gets me, but also I'm a sucker for like visual arts. So
Mm,
going to like a gallery that has really cool art, especially if it's like an opening, there's the artist is there, just kind of seeing again, seeing what they did, what they made and created, seeing how other people react to it, and also watching like if they're there, getting to see them in the space of like I did this. It's really fun for me to see people do that. It's always super inspiring. Like it could be anything, and I'm just like I go home like I want to make something. Um, so yeah, I think like live things are definitely probably my favorite.
who's the director that you are dying to work with?
Oh my gosh. Just one? Um,
Top three.
um, man, this is so hard. This is so hard. I love what does. Like,
Mm.
I think he's so interesting and weird. Like, I would love to just hear what he has to say about a character and like see what his process is. So I gotta put him on the list. I mean, Christopher Nolan is always doing really interesting things.
Mm.
He's Christopher Nolan. Um, I don't think you say no when he comes knocking.
Right.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I can't even grasp that though at the moment because like you look at who's in his Odyssey, right? And you're just like,
Oh my
man,
God.
it's
I'm
like
like,
the
what's it like
top of
being a
the
day player on that? I'm like,
yeah, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, the day players are still like people that everyone knows. It's
Right.
crazy. Like so
Yeah, you're
like
right.
it. I can't really fathom it at the moment, but it would be so much fun. Dune
Oh
and
yeah,
Revenant.
Denis.
Yeah, Denis. Like, dude, all these directors, they're so talented,
Yeah,
man. There's so many Tarantino. Like I don't
yeah,
know. We could go forever, I guess, but like. I think that he would be up there for sure. There's so many good directors right
yeah,
now. I mean, I think there's so many people doing like really interesting things, even in a time where it seems like we've seen it all. And that's
yeah.
it's really cool and inspiring.
And before we go, this is another one that's gonna make you want to pull your hair out. Uh, you're hosting a dinner party, and you can invite any three actors to join you. Who are you
Three
inviting?
actors.
Yeah,
I mean, Brando's got to be there.
yeah.
I have to have him there. Kate Winslet.
Oh,
I would love to sit down with Kate Winslet. You know who I love is Benicio del Toro,
oh yeah,
but he scares me. Like, like, like I would love to have him at dinner because I think he's so interesting. And but dude, like, I don't know. We'll just say those three, just for because. But there's
yeah,
countless. Like, I would love to sit down with like Jessica Chastain or Amy
yeah,
Adams, and like some of these women who have just done really cool, like again, just been so themselves and like and haven't really like I really admire these women who are just making the art and doing really good work. And it seems like they're not letting anyone kind of tell them what they should be doing. And again, I just say that because I've seen a couple of things recently where I'm just like, wow, that was really different movie or something. And I don't know. And just, it always kind of goes through my brain of like, how did that project come up and what made them want to do that project?
yeah.
Because I'm guessing they probably have countless other things on their desk. And also, I just don't know how anyone stays relevant in today's day and
Oh,
age.
I don't.
Like,
Yeah. It's like terrifying. Like
there's just so
just
much
that idea.
happening. Yes, but like it's just a wild time. So like I don't know. I guess I admire people on all across the board of like people who are just like, oh, that one person who did that really great thing, and we could not forget them from that. But I haven't seen their work since because it hasn't been like mainstreamed or like promoted well. but you know that they're working because they're that good.
Yeah.
And then those people who've been around for forever, and you're like, they can't miss, you know?
And last question, in 10 words or less, what advice would you give to a young actor?
10 words or less. Remember that you have something to say.
Oh, love that. All right, awesome. Justin, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. Thank you for, again, being so gracious and coming back and for, giving us your time. And I wish we could have dived into Ransom Canyon a bit, but, spoilers and
It's all
whatnot.
right.
I don't want Netflix to get on me for
No,
for
it's all
spoiling
good.
anything. Awesome. And for everyone listening, for everyone watching, don't miss Johnson Cortez and Ransom Canyon premiering on April 17th on Netflix. Thanks for joining us. Actors with Issues is hosted and produced by Juan Ayala. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or on the podcast platform you're listening to. Visit actorswithissues.com for exclusive news and reviews, and give us a follow on Instagram and TikTok at Actors with Issues.